Hi, Hugh Lopdell here from Oak Park Chartered Accountants with a follow-up to my video last week on COVID-related business issues for pharmacies. Now most of the help in this video is again for pharmacies whose turnover is down by 30% or more, but I'll start by covering a couple of items that apply to all pharmacies, including a new relief measure available. Now, the Ministry of Health Financial Support Funding Allocation, so this is the $15 million. They were paid out on the 31st of March or the 1st of April. The allocations were based mainly on dispensing volumes with an allowance for higher Maori and Pacific and community service card holders. There was no account taken in the allocation for city, mall or urgent pharmacies who I know are really struggling. So I hope that allocation method was appropriate. If you bought or sold a pharmacy on 1st of April, the payment is to be split 25% to the vendor, 75% to the purchaser of the pharmacy business. Now the payments do include GST. I have asked the Guild and the Society and haven't yet been able to ascertain if the payments are subject to income tax or not. And normally these sorts of payments, as you know, to pharmacies are subject to income tax. It just seemed odd to me that to give you relief money and then take back 28 cents of it. So when I find out, I'll put it in my next video. If you received it on the 31st of March, you've got some GST to pay on that on the 7th of May, so look out for that. If it is income taxable and your payment was on the 31st of March and was, say, above about 15 grand, you might be best to give your accountant a heads up, as they may want to estimate your provisional tax. Now, there has been a new scheme announced to help essential businesses like pharmacies. It was announced on the 6th of April. It's called the Essential Workers Leave Scheme. Now, the scheme is to enable you to pay staff that must stay away from work due to COVID. So that's if they're sick with COVID or they have a close relative living with them who's sick with COVID, or they need to isolate for 14 days because they've come into contact with someone who has COVID, or because they have serious health issues. There needs to be agreement with the employer that they'll not come to work. Now, your income does not need to be down 30% as with the wage subsidy. It doesn't need to be down at all for you to claim this, as far as my reading of the material goes. It pays the same as the wage subsidy. That's $5.95 per week for a full-timer, and full-time is more than 20 hours a week of normal hours. But it's not for 12 weeks, it's just for 4. So you can renew your claim after 4 weeks if the situation still applies for that staff member. You must still do your best to pay that staff member 80% of their normal pay if this is higher than the $5.85. It does not cover staff who are afraid of contracting COVID at work and taking it home to their family, but so they're not working. Now that is just annual leave or leave without pay. If you Google Essential Workers Leave Scheme, it will take you to the Ministry of Social Development website and you can read the details of that scheme. And if you do think you qualify, I suggest you do that. Okay, now an update on the wage subsidy. Now last week I relayed that it was city, mall and urgent pharmacies in particular that were down 30% and were claiming the wage subsidy, and I covered how to go about that briefly. To those pharmacies, I suggested that given they had no other evidence yet, they couldn't compare March with March because overall March was up on last year. If they produced a report for the last week and compared it to the same week last week, then that would at least give them some basis to claim. There is a problem, however, if suburban pharmacies use that as a measure, because you had a big jump in the week before, and that was followed by a lull, wasn't it? But if you look out over April and May and March and average it, it's unlikely most suburban pharmacies are going to be down, perhaps at all, but certainly not by 30%. Now the guidelines on the Work and Income website are that you compare month with month, or you can forecast looking ahead. So I do have a list of reports that you can print off either tonic or lots for forecasting your income more accurately. So if you drop me an email, my email will come up at the end of this video. I'll send those to you. From suburban pharmacies I've spoken to, I'd estimate that not a lot of them are going to need to apply for this wage subsidy. Maybe 10-15% tops, from the ones I've spoken to. Now, I have spoken to a pharmacy client in the last week that got confused, and I can understand that. They claimed the wage subsidy, but they now realise that they didn't qualify because their income won't be down 30%. Their turnover won't be down 30%. Now, the Work and Income website says that in such situations as this, it will need to be repaid to Work and Income. So I suggested he just put it aside in a bank account, and we'll deal with that later. The Work and Income website still makes no comment, however, about there being any clawback if you claim the wage subsidy and you get 12 weeks worth and we're all back with the doors wide open after 6 weeks. Watch this space on that. Now, some other issues. Business interruption insurance. Sorry, pandemics are excluded from most business interruption policies. Budgets. Now, budgets are a financial management tool that are very useful for cash-stressed businesses. Now, for those city, mall and urgent pharmacies, your income's down by more than 30% for one. But then when things return to normal, you don't know how quickly your income is going to be restored. So a professionally prepared budget is invaluable for this sort of situation, because you can adjust it as many times as you like for the different variables, and it'll give you a good feel for your cash situation and give you some foreknowledge, help you make some better decisions. Now, we're preparing budgets at no charge at this time for our pharmacies that need it. So if you want help, call your accountant, and maybe you can leverage off us and say, hey, Oak Park are doing their pharmacy clients' budgets for free. What can you do for us? Good luck with that. All right, your outgoings. If you're a pharmacy and you've applied for the wage subsidy, you're going to need to do what you can to minimise your outgoings, both business and personal. Talk to your landlord. From what I've heard, discounts of around 25% at least on rent seem to be common for those commercial tenants whose doors are still open but trade is well down. Talk to your landlord. Defer capital expenditure. Don't do that for that right now. There'll be time for that later. Be careful with hiring permanent staff, given the uncertainty. I'm not saying don't, but talk to your accountant. But uncertainty is an issue when it comes to making permanent business decisions like that. If you have a personal mortgage or your business loan is a mortgage, consider asking your bank for the 6-month repayment holiday. The rule of thumb I've said to my clients is, if in doubt, ask for it. If you find in 3 months' time, well, actually you don't need it, you can quit it early, or you can just put the money aside, and if you find after 6 months you don't need it, you can put that money back into your loan and mostly restore it to where it would have been otherwise. Okay, folks, that's all I got for this week. If you want to keep getting these videos, follow us on Facebook is the best way, or if you like, email me. My email's coming up shortly. We'll make sure you get the link when the next video comes out. In my next video, I hope to highlight some opportunities there are for pharmacies in this crisis. Okay, I hope you've got all the PPE you need and the support, and that your staff are all well. All the best for now. Hugh Lopdell from Oak Park Chartered Accountants.